those pivot points, right? So like now you kind of get introduced to the right people, right? And Matthew Madonna is like the boss back then.
I didn't meet him.
No, I'm not saying you. I know they were meeting him, but what I'm saying is you're getting a kind of the upper echelon of the Lucchese family, which, you know, I got to be honest with you. We talked about this earlier. Of the 5 families, and we could do a whole other podcast on that, but of the 5 families, it's arguably the reign that Casso and Musso had was arguably one of the most ruthless and least covered. Like whoever was in the PR for the Lucchese family just was not good, because Lucchese's, I'd be more scared if I'm in New Jersey of the Lucchese's than even during the Gotti era, with all due respect, because they were killing everyone back then and just over stupid shit. So anyway, so you're kind of getting back in. Give us like your first, you know, like, did you have a job? And then what were your first few assignments that you could speak of that you started having to kind of do to get reacclimated or acclimated into your journey to becoming a made man?
Well, one of the first things was that, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, John's son, his nickname was Sonny, unfortunately got himself addicted to drugs. And he had tried to get him in different rehabs. And, you know, there was a time when I was in the car with John and an unknown number came up on the phone, and he was a little hesitant to answer it, and he answered it, and he took the call, and, you know, but you could see that something was wrong with him. And then he got off the call and he said, it was nothing. I said, you all right? He says, yeah, I don't like them calls. He said, because I worry it's going to be about my son. Now, being a father myself, I never forgot that. So when the kid came one time, he was one of his stints. He came out from rehab. I grabbed him. I said, man, I want to talk to you. Take a walk with me. And I talked to him. And I said, you know, I want to tell you something. And I told him that whole story. I said, you know, so I don't know if you understand, you know, what you're doing is affecting your father, where the guy don't even want to answer. He's worried about picking up a phone call, and God forbid you're dead or in jail. You know, that's not good what you're doing. And, you know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. This is your life. But I know that you could do so much better, and you could help yourself. And, you know, you need to try to help yourself and get yourself clean. And his best friend was up John's ass. And I tried to get in his head that way. I said, you know, here's your friend. He's up your father's ass, and he wants to run around with your father. He wants everybody to see, you know, him to be seen with your father. And here's the bottom line. That's your father. That's not his father. And, you know, it would be nice that you go and spend time with your father, because your father's spending time with your best friend. And this kid was a nice kid, and he was very respectful. He thanked me. He said to me, hey, you know, I really want, you know, most kids, they don't want, you know, who that for you, and I don't want to hear what you have to say. He thanked me. He said, I want to thank you, you know, for taking the time to pull me to the side and talk to me. When I walked away from him, I felt bad, because I knew it really fell on deaf ears, and I knew there was going to be 2 outcomes for him. And unfortunately, it was the worst outcome, because he wound up passing away in Rikers Island. But so what took place, what I'm talking about, is that John had come to me and told me that on one of the kid's last stints that he did in rehab, he was starting to do good. And John found out that a Spanish guy that lived on the kid's block started selling him drugs again. So he said to me, I want you to go and crack this guy and tell him to stay away from my son. And I'll just give you an example of the time. I don't remember what time it was. Let's just say it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon. At 1 o'clock, I was already reporting back that we took care of it already. That's how quick it was done.
But so what's take care of? You just like lumped him up a little bit, or what?
Anthony and myself located him.
And was he like, hey, listen, man, like, I'm sorry, I won't do it?
He tried to say, I said something to him, and he tried to go to say something and didn't get to say it.
You were got it. Yeah, he was getting lumped up. Got it. So you report back. Got it. What happened? What happened?
It was an hour later, and he was thrilled to death that an hour later it was already done, because in that life, that's what you don't want to tell a guy, hey, so kind of like testing you to say, go do this, and then it doesn't get done or whatever may be the case. But it was an hour later, and it was done and taken care of.
Did that guy wind up obeying, and the kid found it from like another source, or did this guy ignore your threats?
I think that guy was going to move off the block. I don't